Hello, I'm Ragnarrock, and welcome to the Reckoning. So I want to welcome everybody to this special celebration episode. So it's been about 2 weeks, I believe, since I put out a video. I was working on two videos, one a rework of or an update of the magic system, and another tutorial video that people have been asking for. However, I was getting pretty close to being done with those videos. I happened to check, which I should have did first, on the update that will be coming out in probably about a week and a half, the next major faction rework for the Age of Calamitous mod. And I saw that basically there's some things coming out and changing that would either make both my videos I was working on either out of date or incomplete. So, I should just wait to do any updates until after all the Age of Calamitous updates are done. I love the work. I'm excited to see what comes out next, or for you all to see what comes out next also. Yeah, a lot of good changes, but it's always the video I want to make next, right? But anyways, so that put me about a week behind, which is it's just the nature of the things. It's fine. So I started working on another video that I knew wasn't going to change for a while. And I happened to look at the analytics, which I haven't done in a while. And I saw that we hit 5,001 subs on the YouTube channel. 5,000. Holy. So I stopped right there and I was like, I gotta do something. I was shocked. First of all, last time I checked, my sub count was I think we were at like 4,700 or something like that. So I was actually really shocked. I didn't think we hit it that fast, and I never really thought that the YouTube channel would become that popular. So thank you so much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Everybody that subbed. I super appreciate it. It helps out the channel immensely. If you're not subbed, just give me a sub. You know what I mean? Hit the sub button. It helps with the channel. I can't even tell you. It helps make the videos more suggested. It helps get it out to a wider audience, and it also helps the channel grow. So, which in turn helps me make either better content with better technology, or it helps me just put out videos more often. So, if you're not subbed and you've watched more than one video, definitely sub. Or if you're new to it and you're liking what you see already, hit the subscribe button. It helps. At least hit the thumbs up. But I'll move on. So either way, I was shocked. I was surprised. It's amazing. And I wanted to put something out to celebrate that. So that's what we're doing in this video. So this video is going to be a little different than usual. It's going to be something we've never really covered before, but still sticking within the Age of Calamitous stuff. But this stuff technically could kind of tie over to if you're just a regular Conan Exile server and not the modded Age of Calamitous, or if you have other mods. So some of the stuff may help. Some of it's very specific to Age of Calamitous, but we'll kind of go through it. So over the years, whether it's been in videos, comments, in the Discord a lot, in direct DMs, or on my live streams, people have asked, hey, I see you do this as an admin on your server for your players. How do you set that up? So one of the things, the main thing we're going to focus on today is how do you set it up so people in your server can join multiple Age of Calamitous factions? You talk about there's a way for admins to do that. How can I do that other than me actually going to each one of my players and adding the factions to their list in the feats list, which is very time consuming, and you're not going to ever want to do that as an admin. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how on my server we do it. So I copied over the scripts from my server. I cut them down a little bit so they're a little easier to follow, because those ones are a lot more in depth, but it's a lot of the same thing, just repetitively. So I'll kind of explain that as we go along, but I'm going to show you how I do it on my server. Now, this is definitely not the only way to do it. It may not be the best way to do it, but it's a way that I set up about 2 years ago, so I haven't updated it with some of the newer update features that are in, say, Pippi, for example, but it still functions. It still functions perfectly and flawlessly on the server that I've run for about 4 years. First and foremost, you are going to need the Pippi mod, and you're going to need Age of Calamitous. Obviously, in Age of Calamitous, Pippi mod is what I use to do all these extra features. So again, there's other mods that probably do it, but Pippi is the best one I found, and it's the one I like using, and it does a lot. So it works very well with Age of Calamitous. So those are the two mods you are going to need. If you are an admin in a server, you're always looking for help, suggestions. If you're an owner of a server, if you're friends with an admin, and you're always looking for help, even if you're a new player and you just want to learn more about Age of Calamitous or Conan, you have a lot of questions, blah, blah, blah. Or if, let's just say it's not even Age of Calamitous, it's about EWA or GCAM or less build and replacement. Join our Discord. We have an amazing, amazing community. It's been around for forever now. It's been around for over 4 years, I think. And it's an awesome community. We have a lot of server owners. I've been playing Conan for so long now. We have a lot of friends that are also content creators. We have a lot of people that come in and they own their own servers, they admin on their own servers and stuff like that. Some that have been doing servers for years, and they do, some heavily modded servers and all that. So not only is it a resource to help you find other servers to play on, as well as, play on our server that is open to the Discord community. All you have to do is join the Discord. But if you have questions, you can post in our Conan chat. I'm more than happy for people to post questions, even that's not about Age of Calamitous. It doesn't have to be. As long as it's anything related to Conan, post in the Conan chat. And, we have a lot of server owners that may be able to answer, even if I can't. Okay, next we're going to go through some of the other items we're going to need for what we're going to set up today. So right here in your build menu, if you have the Pippi mod, you're going to see these items right here. The only ones that have like these white symbols and stuff like that. They're not like 3D art and stuff. And these are Pippi exclusive items. These are admin items. So they have a unique feature, which is kind of really cool. The ones we care about for this video are NPC spawner, portal, thespian, and egress. Those are the only 4 we actually care about. I actually do have glow orbs. I guess I could show you one when we show it, but glow orbs are just a lighting source. It's just a way to add light to an area without adding a torch. But the main ones you need are the other ones: the NPC spawner, portal, thespian, and egress. Okay, so the next thing we care about is in the other tab. Right here, you'll see Reign of Conquest, and then below it, Wedding Band, Old Tome, Sealed Letter, Captain's Journal. These are Age of Calamitous items. You will not see these unless you have the Age of Calamitous mod added. What these are is the Age of Calamitous devs decided to add in quest items. So if you spawn these in, the description, at least last time I spawned them in, the description said quest item. These have no use or functionality in the game. They're basically just items. You get them and they don't do anything. And what these are used for is they were added in to be used in tandem with a quest system like Pippi. I believe specifically for Pippi, but it will work in probably any other quest system. And they're basically placeholders. So you can have an NPC drop this if you want. You can have a quest where you talk to a person and they give you this as a reward. It has no functionality, but you can use it maybe in another stage of the quest to turn in to get an item. Or maybe you use this to add a loot spawner to turn in to get an item. So there's different things you can do with it. They're basically placeholders that allow you to set up some kind of custom quest or challenges or loots or whatever that you can use for other features. So they're kind of cool. That's where they are right there. There's a handful of them. Next, we care about kits, which technically use those quest items that I just talked about. So I'm not going to go in, before we go farther, I'm not going to go too in depth into all the different Pippi consoles we're going to go into. I'm not going to go in depth in them. I'm going to show you basically the gist of what you need to do if you wanted to copy paste what I'm doing. But I'm not going to go into the in-depths of some of these ones have a lot of like drop downs and boxes because those would be videos in themselves. What I will do is I'll put a link in the description below. A longtime supporter of the Reckoning community, a fellow content creator, and just longtime friend. I've known her for about, I think like 3 years, maybe even longer. But I've known her for a very long time. She does in-depth Pippi tutorials and guides, and she goes over every box, every button, every drop down. She has videos for each of these features in Pippi. Really, really awesome. Moonstone. She does, like I said, she does amazing videos. Definitely check her out if you want more in-depth. But for us, kits. This is essentially what will drop from the NPCs I have spawn in during the challenges to can learn each of the factions. And I'll explain more of that once we get to that point. But essentially, there are NPCs that are going to spawn in that you have to fight. When you kill them, they drop an item. So my wave 1 will drop this item. Each NPC I spawn in will drop one of these. So if I spawn in 3 that drop kit 1, they'll drop 3 rings total. One NPC will drop 1 ring. Wave 2 will drop one of these rings, and that's really it. All you have to do is just create a kit. You hit add item. It adds whatever item you want in there. Obviously, you want to add in the quest items, and then all you have to do is make sure it's enabled and hidden. That's it. Next and lastly in this console, I believe, is we need warps. So I always set up a central location on my server, which is the player market or the server market. That's where I have the player vendors. That's where I have the admin vendors. I have portals. I have map room. And I also have the challenge, the faction challenges or the challenge hall, whatever. So you have to set up a warp to that market. And all you really do is you stand on location, hit create warp. When you create it, it will make a warp for where you're currently located. So right now, if I hit create warp, the warp point would be for where I'm currently standing. And then you just name it something you want to name it. And you just make sure that it is hidden and enabled. So it's hidden, so players can't use it. It's an admin-only feature. Or players can't like type in warp, \warp, and then the warp name. And they won't see it in the list either. And it's enabled so it can be used. Okay, and before we move on, I just want to say one of the other things we have done is we've recently been kind of expanding out a little bit. So obviously the new world environment and stuff like that. There's a lot of working from home, being from home a lot more than usual. So I've been spending a lot of time with my son because he's home a lot more now. And well, I always spend a lot of time with son, but I've been spending a lot more time gaming with my son. He's getting to that age now where he wants to play a bunch of games, and he's always been really into Minecraft. So I've been playing a lot of that with him in my free time. It's actually one of the games I like to play just to chill, and when I'm not doing Conan content and playing Conan. So I figured, you know, if I'm doing so much of that, why don't we make a second channel and put out some videos? So we have put out a second YouTube channel. It is covering Let's Plays and eventually builds and stuff like that for Minecraft. If you are interested in just supporting the community, just showing a little bit more love, go in the description below, check out the channel, you know, come over, say hi in a video, check it out or whatever. Maybe subscribe. Even if you don't like Minecraft, you can always, you know, just help out the channel grow a little bit, because in the first like 1,000 subs, it's actually a very significant time for a channel to help it grow and the videos to get out there a little bit more, since it is such a saturated market with videos for every game. So like I said, but I would love to just have you come over there, at least a comment in a video, and just say, hey, I'm over here from your Conan channel, you know, keep up the good work or whatever. Or maybe if you like Minecraft, who knows, you might like another channel that has some Let's Plays. So I'd love to see you over there. Ragnarrock MC. Okay, so step one is, like I said, you have to make a player market. This is our player market. I know, it's beautiful. You want me to come to your server and design one of these for you, I'll do it. No, I won't. No, I'm just kidding. Usually I have a really nice, pretty server market, but first, we're on the single player world right now demonstrating this. So this is going to simulate our server market. Now in the market, I'll have a challenge and one for each faction. As you can see, I only put 3 of them here, but I'll have one for each 6. Now the way this works is basically the player will log into the game. They'll join a faction. Let's just say I'm Felgarth. They'll join Felgarth. They'll play the game as normal. When they hit level 70, which is the requirement I have set, they can go up to these NPCs and they can go through a dialogue that will let them start and then complete a challenge. Once they complete the challenge, they will join the faction of whatever challenge they complete. So if I complete this one, I will add Cold Embrace to my list. It doesn't take the place of Felgarth if I'm Felgarth off the bat. It adds to it, which means now I'd be Felgarth and Cold Embrace. Now, let's say after I'm done with that, or maybe 5 levels later, I go, you know what? I don't like elves. They suck. So, but I love Van Ghoul because I want that Forge of Keldora. So I go to the Van Ghoul challenge and I take the challenge. And now guess what? I have Felgarth, I have Cold Embrace, and I have Van Ghoul. And you can do that. You can do it for some. You can do it for all of them. You can take all 5. Well, you only need 5 challenges because you already picked one of the 6 actions when you join the game. But you would basically take... This gives the players the ability to either learn all the factions, or maybe they only want to learn 1, or maybe they want to learn 2. It lets them pick and choose. So you don't have to do all of them. You don't just take one challenge for all of them. You could do that if you want to. There's a lot of different ways of doing this. Again, we're going to show you how I do it on my server. So that's how I have it set up. Now, how do I do that? How do you make it so this person gives you a challenge or starts a challenge or whatever? Well, these are thespians. These are those Pippi admin tools I was talking about. They don't have life. They don't move. They don't attack. Well, they do move. They do like the emotes and stuff. That's really it. They don't have a durability or life bar, which means they won't get destroyed by Purge. They can't be destroyed by other players, which is really, really nice. They're admin spawn only. But either way, this is a thespian. What does it do? Right here. It gives you the ability to do all this really cool, complicated looking stuff, but it's not complicated. Okay, you can actually change what it looks like. You can dress it whatever you want. You can dye armor and give it dyed armor. You can even hold weapons and stuff. Kind of cool. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go over what you need for the sake of this video. Again, I'm not going to go in depth into every one of these drop downs. I'm just going to show you exactly what you need for this video, and you can check out Moonstone's videos for the more in-depth guide. But I name it some cool name. I give it something so the players can see right above its head what it is. It's a Cold Embrace challenge. Awesome. So that's easy. And then I change this box to Dialogue Thespian. That will allow me to use a script to set up the quest line that I'm going to set up. That is really all you need to do here. Nothing else you need to do. You can if you want, but you don't need to. So now I'm going to launch the Mushi editor. All right. So again, this stuff in here would be like 5 videos in itself, but I'm going to try to go through it enough where you can pause the video and get a gist understanding. When you first open this up, I believe all you have is just the origin node. If you right click, it lets you add whatever boxes you want to add, dialog nodes, output option nodes, condition nodes. So you just add them, and then all you do is you kind of link the output to the input to the input, output to the input. If there's a true and false, you add false to go this way, true to go that way. So you kind of follow the lines. If you add 2 lines from output, that means it will give you both of these. Again, not going too much in depth into it, but essentially, the origin node is when a player clicks on the NPC. What is it going to do? So I, as a player, click on the NPC. The NPC says, do you wish to join the Cold Embrace? It gives the player 2 options, yes or no. If you choose no, it kicks you out of the dialogue. If you say yes, this is where my condition comes in. So I have it set, you have to be level 70, at least level 70. So therefore, it checks. Are you level 70? No? Kick you out of the conversation. If you are, then it goes to this next area. Now, this next area, my server is actually bigger, but all it is a bunch of disclaimer stuff and information stuff. For example, I build my Cold Embrace challenge that you get teleported to in a cold area. So you will be frostbitten if you do not wear cold protection armor. So I make sure I put it there. You will need to wear cold protection armor, otherwise you will freeze. I am protected. I am not equipped. If they're not equipped, obviously it kicks them out of the stuff. If they are, it keeps going. I also put in there as a way to make the challenge a little bit more risk versus reward, and I have it set up is if you do not complete the challenge, at least granted now if you do not complete the first wave, but I left the text the way it is, you will actually lose all your gear. So you have a risk if you do not complete it, you will lose all your possessions. There's a way to make it so that's not the case, but that's how I had it originally. It's not so much the case anymore because things kind of changed a little bit. But either way, I still put in there. So if by chance someone gets killed and they weren't ready for the challenge, or they're just horrible at fighting, early game because they're new or whatever, and they're not really that good yet, or maybe the challenge is just really challenging. If they lose like their, I don't know, legendary weapon that it took them like 3 weeks to get or something like that, I'm not going to get DMs saying, hey, I lost my legendary weapon or my Cold Embrace endgame armor that my buddy built me and it took him like forever to get the mats for it. Can you spawn it back in? The answer is going to be no. No. So that's why I put disclaimers there. I actually never had a problem on the server. No one's really ever bugged. I think people are pretty aware of the consequences, and they're fine with it. I mean, just don't take the challenge, right? But the challenges really aren't that crazy anyways. You can make them as hard or as easy as you want, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit when we get a little later into the video. But this is basically all my disclaimers. So you could skip over all this, or you can add this all in just to add in information to make sure that they have to click on I accept. I know. Yes, I'm protected. This and that. And all that fun stuff, just to give you the chance of, so you don't have to put a bunch of signs up or something like that. Essentially, once you're done with that, once you get to the very end, you've said yes and I'm protected and all that stuff, you'll say thank you, and it will warp you to the warp point. This is another one of the warps I made. I have one of these for each of the challenges, and this will warp me to where the challenge location is. Okay, so let's do that real quick, and let's show. So, here it is. Do you wish to join? Yes. I'm aware if I die, I cannot regain my current loot, armor, weapons. I accept, and that's what she says down here. You will need to wear cold protection. I am protected. And then I say, thank you. And I am teleported to the Cold Embrace faction or challenge hall. As you can see, it's a box. Don't look. Shh. Those are all going the same way. Just don't look at that. This is beautiful. This is the faction hall, or the challenge hall. It's a box. There's no way into or out of either of these boxes without being teleported in or going through this door. So I basically make it so you have to start the challenge, which does some checks, and then to get into this next room, you have to talk to this dude. There's no way to get through this door. If you look, click on it. I'll go over what this is in a minute. But again, this is just a method I set up to help people from cheesing it, from, coming up with different methods to game the system, to get easy thralls and all that fun stuff. So, and I'll go over all this eventually. So the first thing I do is once I build this hall, and you can build these wherever you want, and I decorate it very boringly, I put a portal. So this is one of the admin features for Pippi. It's a portal. All it is you place it down, and then you choose your destination, which you can just choose the warp points you chose. You can make it look however you want. You can change the color of it. And then you just want to make sure it's enabled and you have a name on it. Once you do that, let's just say maybe a player meant to hit no, I'm not ready, but they hit yes by accident. Well, it's one last final out. They have one more out to get out of this, so they're not stuck losing their stuff. Now, let's say that the player is ready 100%. Well, they can't go through this door, okay? They have to talk to this dude. Now, the reason you ask, well, how do you lock this door? Well, this is not a normal door. This is an egress door. So it's another Pippi feature. We'll hit edit. And the cool thing is you can make it look however you want, which is kind of cool in the visuals, the egress visual. So you can make it look like an insulated wood door. Again, these are vanilla type doors, so you won't be able to choose some of the Age of Calamitous doors. But either way, you can make it look however you want. Again, for the sake of the video, all we care about is we want to name it something. We want to make sure we remember how we name it. It is case sensitive. You want to make sure it's not enabled here. Do not enable the door. That is all you care about. That is it. The other thing I do is I make a smaller room that houses the portal, the guy, and an egress door, and it has glass windows. The reason I have glass windows is, so that right there is an NPC that spawned in from, I think, that spawner. Someone started the first wave. So we can pretend two things. We can either pretend there's a player in there fighting, or we can pretend that I fought this wave and I actually got killed. So what I want to prevent is I want to prevent people from killing these things through attrition. That's not really so much an issue anymore. The new way that thralls now heal themselves once they're away from you, but it used to be an issue. They would just keep whatever health they had. So this is one way I prevented against it. And it also prevents people from knocking these thralls out and dragging them through the door when it opens and farming easy thralls that they can capture and put on wheels. So that's a NPC that spawned in, whether someone's fighting it or whatever. I talked to this guy. Yes, is there currently somebody fighting the challenge? We'll just say no, because there's not. Let's just say this guy killed me. I'll say it is clear. And you see, they died, and the door opens. So what it does is this guy is the guy that opens my door. He's a nice gentleman. You're a very nice doorkeeper. Thank you so much. You're holding the door open for a very long time. Oh, there it is, close. I'd probably lessen the amount of time that's open for. But he also kills any NPCs that were spawned in by the spawners. They will die. The reason I put glass here is because you don't want to do that if a player is currently fighting that NPC, because if he kills them using the admin command, they will not drop the special loot that I have them drop that is required to complete the challenge. So, which means if you do this when a player is fighting, they have to start all over from scratch. Let's just say you have 5 waves and they're on the last wave. Guess what? They will not be able to get that item for the last wave. They will need to start the challenge back from scratch, and they're not going to be happy with you. So, I don't have problems with that on my server. Nobody's griefing other people by being jerks like that. Obviously, if there was a situation like that, you would handle it. But it also prevents people from cheesing, and it also prevents people from just talking to this guy to kill it and then getting the item off it real quick. It's kind of nice that the item will not drop unless it's killed by a player, not an admin. And again, same options as the previous. This one's a little bit more complicated, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But it's basically just a bunch of dialogue. Again, it asks, is there somebody currently fighting? You questions. If you say it's clear, this is what it does. These are a bunch of action nodes. These are a bunch of things that happen really quick, and then it opens the door. So what it does is it revokes. I have the check mark put in the... it's the same trigger as you'll see later in the video, but except for I put a check mark in this, so now it says revoke signal. Essentially what that does is it means it will kill anything that this spawner spawned in. So this is my first spawner for wave 1, my second spawner for wave 2. If I have 5 waves, I'd have 5 of these. So it will kill anything in the room that's still alive, or even if it's knocked out. The next thing it does is these are the quest items. These are the items that will drop on those NPCs if that you need to actually complete the challenge. I use the same items for every faction challenge. So wave 1 and every of the factions drops the same thing. They drop wave 1 here is, I think it drops the moon ring. So I utilize them for the same. So I don't want people going to one challenge, getting the item, leaving, and then coming here and completing it faster. So what I do is it will remove these items from their inventory. So if you happen to have one of those moon rings that your friend gave you or whatever, it will remove it from your inventory. What it also does is it deletes the quest. What this does is these are the quests it gives you in order to go through and then complete each wave, and it tells the script to move to the next wave. What this does, the reason I have this here is if you die, when you come back in, it's going to start you back off at wave 1. So you have to complete all the waves in one round without actually dying. So that's the key. So it makes it a little bit more complicated, a little bit harder, a little bit more of a challenge. And then after it does all that stuff real quick and it's, instantaneously, it will trigger the door. It will open the door. It invokes signal. That's the default. So basically, it will open this door right here. Okay, so here's your room. Again, no way in, no way out. You can't get back through this door. If I click on it, it doesn't do anything. So the only thing I can do in this room is talk to her. Now, you can set these to be invisible. I'm in admin mode, so it's going to show. But you can set these to be hidden, so a player won't see them. I also have glow orbs in here, which those are just light sources. I have it set to like a darker blue light. I could probably change that to like a lighter light. Let's see. Change it to a lighter light. You don't need these. These just add light sources. You can, their intensity, their radius and stuff like that. But if I hit apply, see how it's a different light. So it's a way to set invisible light, more or less, in a room. If it's too dark and you don't want to put torch stands everywhere. I try not to put too much stuff in these rooms because I don't want people like hiding behind it and stuff like that and kind of cheesing the bosses. You could do whatever you want, though. I don't want things on the wall super high because I don't want people to climb up. If they climb up here and they stand on top of the torch, you're still going to get hit. That's too close to the ceiling, so they can't stand on top of that. So you don't want to put like torches like up here because then a player could stand right there and just shoot arrows at the bosses and not get hit. Obviously, that's not going to help when you're fighting like Felgarth and Elvenor because they use magic. But for like Cold Embrace, it may help. So let's go through the spawner real quick. So this is spawner 1. All you really care about is, this is an NPC spawner. You care about the name. You have to remember what that is. Make sure it's not enabled. You want to select an NPC. So select what you want to fight. You can do anything. You can do bosses and creatures. I think it has every NPC that's in the game. Scroll down. It has everything that's in Age of Calamitous. There are creatures also. Of course, I'm somehow only clicking on, there you go, wildlife. So there's a lot of different stuff you can have jump in and be your spawn. So you want to select something there. You make sure it's not enabled. You'd probably want it to be hidden so people can't see it. You want to put how many NPCs drop. So I have one NPC in this wave, one NPC in the other. You also want to choose what kit. So wave 1 is going to drop Cold Embrace wave 1. That's the kit we showed earlier in the game. So that means every NPC that dies, that spawns in, will drop one of whatever items in that kit. This is kind of cool over here. I actually do this on my challenges for the higher end waves. I think like wave 3 or wave 4. I actually increase the health. So let's just say I spawn in, well, right here, a tier 8 Cold Embrace, which I think is the Empress Knight. Let's just say by default, they have 10,000 HP. I can set this to 15,000 HP. So you can actually make them harder to fight. You can actually double the damage. So maybe you really like the character model for something, but it's just a weak thing. You can increase the amount of damage it does in one hit. So maybe it does double the damage. So you do 2 times damage. Stuff like that you can do. You can make things more hard than they normally would be. And it kind of can, you can make them harder than they would be in the entire game. So that lets you play around with some stuff that's kind of cool. Okay, so we have spawners. We have a door. We have no way in. We have no way out. So essentially, we have this person. It's another thespian, and this is the challenge master. This is the person you're going to have to talk to between each wave. Basically, you talk to her. She spawns in wave 1. You defeat it wave 1. You get an item. So, look, by the way, well, let's look. So this one is the one that got killed when we opened the door. You can see there's no drop in here. So I have a moon ring that's supposed to drop on them. It did not drop. So that shows you that it does not drop the items that is in the kit if they admin kill. Once you get the item, you bring it to her. She'll go, okay, you want to spawn wave 2 or do you want to quit? So after wave 1, I only do this after wave 1, but players have the option to say, you know what? I don't want to do wave 2 because wave 1 almost killed me. I'm not strong enough yet. I'm going to come back later. So they can quit. They can say, send me back to the market. She gives a disclaimer saying you will have to start back off from scratch when you come back. So when you get teleported out of here, if you quit before you finish the challenges, it will reset you back. So when the next time you come back here, you'll end up with wave 1 all over again. So that's what she does. Otherwise, she progresses you through the waves, and then at the end, she gives you the item you need to basically learn the Cold Embrace. So this one's a little bit more complicated. If you have multiple waves, you would just take what I have in these 2 rows right here, obviously these little attachments, and you would just copy paste it for each wave. So if you had 5 waves, you'd have CEQ1, then you have CEQ2 for quest 2, CEQ3 for quest 3, and then obviously whatever your last one is. And you would just update these, right? So instead of here, CE wave 1, you'd have wave 2, CEQ1, you'd have wave 2. You'd change the item to whatever the item is for that wave. So if it's a different drop for wave 2, you'd put that in here. So you kind of just copy paste the stuff and you just change the lines. But essentially what it does is, welcome. It checks for a bunch of stuff. If you've never been here before, you haven't completed a wave, it will go here first, bring on the first wave. It spawns in the spawner. It gives me a quest too that it goes in your background. You can't really see it. It gives me the quest and then closes the dialogue. So that's what starts the challenge. After I defeat the challenge, when I come back, it says, okay, well, they were given the quest up here, so now give me this dialogue. It says I have completed the first wave. It checks to see if I actually got the item from the NPC or if I'm just lying and I'm trying to complete it. If I have the item, then it actually takes away the item and it completes the quest. What that does is, if it completes the quest, when I talk to her again, when her dialogue, it will cycle back. It will bring me down here and it will start this line. So that's kind of cool. So let's do that real quick. And before we actually do that step, I just want to give a huge shout out to our patrons and elite patrons. Again, everybody, you're all amazing. I appreciate all the views and the subs and the comments and the support that we've had over the years. But I just want a massive shout out. It is greatly appreciated because I understand that you don't have to. And I appreciate that extra level of support. So I just want to say a huge shout out to our patrons, elite patrons over the years and our current ones, because it's like, again, it's appreciated. So thank you very much. If you're interested in becoming one of the Patreons and seeing all the options that we have available, I will be doing a revamp of the Patreon system. So adding some new cool features to it. We already have some really cool stuff added to it, but I'm going to add some more in the near future. So if you're interested in checking that out, there's a link for it in the description below. Okay, so let's talk to her. So here we are, bring in the first wave. There's our first wave. Empress Knight. And by the way, I'm sure I'm gonna get questions. How did you fight him so fast? I added my abilities to be like, I have like 3,000 strength. That's the only reason I killed him so fast. So anyways, now that I killed him and he wasn't killed by an admin ability, he drops the moon ring. I need that. I don't care about this rest of the stuff. That's it. Now if I come back to her, now look at that. I've completed the first wave. This is where she gives me the ability to leave the dungeon. So I'm gonna actually click leave the dungeon. Let's assume that I beat the wave, but I was like, it's too hard. I can't do it. I can't do another wave. I almost didn't win that one. I'm going to leave. She gives a disclaimer. Doing so will reset the challenge to wave 1. Okay, send me back to the market. Let's check my inventory. Oh, the moon ring is gone. So when she teleported me back, she took away my item. I'm going to show you that when I get back and how that works. Now, essentially, I defeated first wave, right? So you would think, okay, well, I should be on wave 2. However, she did say, if I teleport you back, you'll have to restart. So let's go up to her real quick. And bring on the first wave. Okay, so like I said, I've showed you this part right here. So right down here is the next part. This is where it says, I've completed the quest. I fear nothing, blah, 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 blah. But there's a part up here somewhere. I forget where. Oh, there it is. I always forget. So this option is also given. This is where you see I need to leave the dungeon. This is the disclaimer. And what I have here, this is how I reset everything, is if I happen to have any inventory, any items for all the waves that are dropped, when I say send me back to the market, it removes any items. So if you have 5 different items drop, you have to make sure you remove them all. I have it delete all the quests. So it doesn't matter what step of the quest I'm in. It will delete every quest from my list, which means when I come back, it's going to start me back off at quest 1. It also will revoke the signal. Again, this is just another way to prevent people from cheesing it. It will kill anything that's currently alive in here. So you can't use this as a way to farm experience or whatever. And then it will teleport me back to the market. So that's how I cover myself for that. All right, so let's talk to her. I've completed the first wave. I fear nothing. I am ready for my final challenge. Now, if obviously you've had 5 waves, you'd be like, start wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then whatever. So this is the final challenge. It's Cold Brace Champion. He ain't nothing. I lied. He's something. And as you can see, he drops another item. And that's the Royal Band. Now, before I complete this with her, let me show you what it does last. All right, essentially the very last step, this is the only area where it's not a copy paste. You have to slightly add something to it from the other ones. And that is, this step is the same. This step is the same, has item, the Royal Band. remove item, royal band, complete quest, just like all the other ones. However, what it will do, right at the same time it deletes quest 1 and deletes quest 2, it will give you an item. So this right here is give item, and that's the Cold Embrace gold token. So it gives me the item that's required to complete the challenge, and then it also teleports me to the market. So I don't have a choice to stick around or do anything or try to cheese something. It basically does all this stuff, resets everything, and sends me back to the market. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to talk to her. No one can defeat me. I have survived your challenge. Give me what I've earned. As you can see, you saw a token on the right side, and I was instantaneously transported back to the market. If I look at my inventory, I have the Cold Embrace golden token. If I use that, you're going to see over here on the right side, join faction.
Defend the Anarius family as a knight of the Cold Embrace.
And I will now have the Cold Embrace added to my factions. So let me show you where you get those tokens from. Okay, so we're right here in the other menu, and we've typed in gold token. And as you can see, here's all your gold tokens. Now, the really cool thing is you have them for the factions. And recently, when the SIPDA update was dropped, they added the gold tokens for the sub factions. So now, in the previous videos, I mentioned you can only choose one faction, and there's no way to even for an admin to do that. There actually was a way for an admin to do that, but they'd have to do it individually for every faction or sub faction for every player. It would have took admins forever. This is a way that now you can add this as an admin for players so they can join all the factions or some of the factions or whatever. Kind of cool. This was added in SIPDA. The reason it was added is because Age of Calamitous does work on SIPDA. I know that's a common misconception of a lot of people. What it doesn't do is you can't load on Age of Calamitous to SIPDA and have all the items and the NPCs in the world. What you have to do is you can load the Age of Calamitous mod, but then your admin has to go around and place everything, every spawner, every shrine, every NPC you have to talk to for magic steps, every faction NPC, everything you talk to and interact with in the Age of Calamitous mod, an admin would have to go around and spawn it all. It's not hard. It's just it's a little bit labor intensive. The official Age of Calamitous Discord, which I have in the link in the description below, actually has they put out a guide for it, so there's a little bit of help for admins to do it. If you guys are interested in it, like I said, leave a comment, and maybe we'll do a series on that. Some suggestions on how you could do it really cool and innovative and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe we'll do a video on that in the future. But for right now, that is added in, which is really cool. So you could add to your servers now factions. Once the last 2 factions are added, you could technically learn all the factions and all the sub factions if you wanted. So that's really, really cool. It's something I have to kind of consider for our server. Maybe I'll ping the server and see what everybody else thinks. But that is really cool. One thing you want to take note of is if I just type in the word token, you see there's a couple more tokens. There's a Stormhold token here and a Stormhold gold token. There's an Elvenor token, Elvenor gold token. Do not give your players these. They will not work. So these are the tokens you get when you first join the game. These tokens do a check. If you are already a faction, this token will not work. It will say you are already a faction, cannot use this token, or something like that. It will say this is a one-time use, whatever. These won't work. These will only work if you are currently no faction. You have to use the gold ones. Gold. That will let you choose multiple factions. Okay, so that'll basically be it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much again for the 5,000 subs. I can't believe it. I'm happy that we were able to put out the celebration video. And I am currently working on, like I said, reworks. The newer update's going to come out soon, so we'll have some new showcases. I'm trying to get some tutorials out to you all before we get back into having to do some showcases. But the good thing is I do have a bunch of some of the update videos I was working on before. I'll just have to slightly record some new content when the new update drops and add it in. So those videos shouldn't take too long to drop to you. I am working on the Magic series. I know people are asking for it. A lot of the information in the previous Magic videos and some of my other videos that were kind of outdated, it is still relevant. There are just aspects that aren't. So I know it's not perfect because not everything's true, but there's still enough of it that is true where it is still relevant. The only time I remove videos is if more than like 80% of the video is either not true or isn't the case anymore. If there's still some pieces that people can learn from, then I leave it up. Sometimes I'll put notes on it that it's outdated or parts of it are outdated or whatever. But That's the only reason that there are still videos, like, for example, the blood magic video. The locations are wrong, how you level it up is wrong, but everything about the spells is still true, which is at least half the video. 50% of the video is about the spells, what the numbers on them, the stats, how they work, the debuffs and buffs and stuff like that. So I leave those up. So that's how we do stuff on the channel as far as the videos. I am updating those videos. I'm gonna get to them, get them out to you as soon as the updates drop. So definitely hit the sub button so you get notified when that happens. Otherwise, if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Don't even, I'm gonna stand here right now. Hold on. Subscribe. Just do it. I'm waiting. I'm not gonna move. It's fine. Just go to the bottom real quick, hit the button. Yep. Nope. No, not that. The red button. The sub. There you go. Yep. Hit that button. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I look forward to putting out a bunch of new videos. I look forward to the next 5,000 subs. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, the last thing, fear the reckoning.